Everywhere we turn in today's world, we are bombarded with promise of happiness. Smiling face on social media, life coaches that telling us to find ourselves, and endless products claiming to make our lives more enjoyable. But this promise of happiness often is like a trap. Many of us treat happiness as a goal, chasing it relentlessly, only to feel more lost in the way. Deep down, this pursuit may even defeat a sense of happiness. Why is that? Why do we lose ourselves in the pursuit of happiness? And why has this become such a defining struggle in modern life? Let's take a closer look through both psychological and philosophical lenses. Misunderstanding happiness. Throughout history, happiness is defined in many ways. In ancient Greek, Aristotle was defined happiness as the good life. This meant much more than momentary pleasures. It was the result of a meaningful life and moral existence. However, in the modern times, happiness is often equated with temporary pleasure. There is a phenomenon in psychology called hedonic adaptation. People very quickly adapting positive experiences and return to their baseline happiness level. This explains why the effect of a vacation or a new phone often short-lived. The modern misunderstanding of happiness traps us in the cycle of dissatisfaction. As Emily Esfahani Smith explains that in her book In Power of Meaning, happiness is a powerful meaning, a momentary pleasure. But meaning offers a deeper foundation we can root ourselves in. When people chase happiness and stray for meaning, they end up feel overwhelming and lost. The traps of modern society, consumption and social media. Modern society traps people in never-ending cycles by equating happiness with money, status, and approval to others. The culture of consumption tells us happiness lies in the next purchase, while social media drags us into the trap of comparing our lives to the curated lives of others. These two forces leave individuals a deep sense of dissatisfaction. Alain de Botton, in his book Status Anxiety, captures the essence of this situation. When modern people start feeling like everyone has a better lives, this reinforces the illusion that happiness depends on external circumstance. However, the cycle of comparison not only steals individual happiness, but also leads to questioning one's own values and dependent on others. Modern society defines happiness not through personal meaning or fulfillments, but through external makers. So, no matter how much we own or how much approval we receive, the feeling of dissatisfaction never fades. The solution is recognizing that happiness comes from internal meaning, not external source. By ignoring society's imposed illusion and returning to our personal values and search for meaning, we can break free from this vicious cycle. Real happiness begins not in comparison, but in accepting ourselves and our surroundings as they are. The relationship between happiness and meaning. Martin Seligman, one of the leading figures in positive psychology, divides happiness into three categories: the pleasant life, the good life, and the meaningful life. Modern individuals often get stuck in the first category. As a result, we are trapped in a search of a superficial happiness rather than fulfillment. Let's consider an example. You just got a promotion. It provides immediate happiness, but this feeling is typical short-lived. If you aren't moved toward in a meaningful goal, this happiness fades quickly. Psychology teaches us that happiness is not the goal, it's byproduct. When a person lives a meaningful life, happiness will naturally follow. From this perspective, the root of modern unhappiness becomes clear. The pursuit of happiness, disconnected from meaning, is like searching for water in the middle of desert. Unless there's a mirage, nothing is found. Nihilism and happiness. The works of Friedrich Nietzsche offers an important perspective in understanding the tragedy of modern man. Nietzsche argued that humans, by moving away from a God-centered systems, entered a crisis of meaning. In the modern world, this crisis blends with the pursuit of happiness, taking on a tragicomic form. People set happiness as a goal, but this goal turns into unreachable fantasy. This is where Nietzsche's concept Übermensch comes to play. According to him, a person must create their own meaning. The search for meaning is more important than the pursuit of happiness, because meaning founds the existential foundation of a person's lives. While modern society lulls individuals with promise of pursuit of happiness, because meaning forms promise of ready-made happiness. As Nietzsche put it, it leads them to an inevitable fall of a cliff. At this point, Viktor Frankl's man's search for meaning offers an important insight. A person should not directly search for happiness, but live a meaningful life. Even in difficult times, meaning serves as a compass that guides a person. Frankl illustrated this with examples of peoples in concentration camp. The common thread among those who survived even the hardest conditions was their ability to find meaning in their suffering, choosing meaning over happiness. At this point, let's ask a question. What does it mean to choose meaning over happiness? A meaningful life requires facing difficulties rather than avoiding them and growing through those challenges. Sometimes painful, sometimes exhausting, but this process leads to a person a deeper sense of fulfillment. This reminds us of a thought Carl Jung shared in his book Memories, Dreams, Reflections. One of the deepest desires of a human soul is to reach the unknown, to find a light in a darkness. This desire creates a state for consequences mixed with both fear and excitement, because discovering the unknown also discovering ourselves. Jung saw the effort to understanding ourselves as a value far from happiness. This effort allows a person to face their own shadows and become a more integrated me. Practical steps: moving beyond the happiness trap. If we accept that chasing happiness can lead us to astray, what should we do instead? Here are my own practical suggestions. Set a meaningful goals. Avoid focusing solely on pressure-based achievements. When you commit to a purpose, happiness will follow naturally. Prioritize connections. The meaningful relationships are among the strongest predictors of happiness. Taking time to appreciate what you have can reduce feelings of dissatisfaction. Don't fear depth. Asking hard questions about your life's purpose may be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Conclusion: seeing what we have. The tragedy of modern human lies in misunderstanding happiness and searching for it wrong place. True happiness emerges naturally from meaningful life. However, during the search, the problem often lies in overlooking what we already have. Here, an insightful quote of Adam Phillips. His book, Missing Out: The Praise of Unlived Life, guides us, always wanting more lead us to an imaginary happiness. But the real issue is not what we have missing out on, but what we see what we have as insufficient. As we live life, we often chase a better option, a better job, a perfect partner, a more exciting life. However, this pursuit prevents us from seeing and appreciating what we already have. Happiness is not always elsewhere. Sometimes what we are looking for is simply a realization of what we already possess. So, stop chasing happiness. Learn to add meaning to what you have, to feel it deeply. Because the greatest tragedy is missing the moment of you are living in pursuit of imagined happiness.